Wake up, wake up. Larry Krueger, Damon Bruce on a Friday morning. It is Cowboy week. Niners, Cowboys. Niners got to get it. Let's get it right here.
Wake up indeed. Friday, October 25th. I'm in the home studios in San Francisco. We got Levi's Larry down in Santa Clara, and all eyes will be on Santa Clara this Sunday night, Larry. The stage all to their own, 49ers and Cowboys. I mean, you could write an NFL history lesson just based on the matchups that the 49ers and Cowboys have given us throughout the year. It's been a little lopsided, though, for the 49ers in the last few years. An awful lot of Kyle, an awful lot of 49ers success. And I think they're going to find and continue that success this Sunday night against Dallas. This is the right opponent, and the Niners need the right opponent right now to get right themselves.
Well, good morning. And, of course, we're brought to you by Sam's Chowder House. And we thank the good people at Sam's Chowder House for bringing us Wake Up 3 days a week. And if you haven't been to Sam's Chowder House, go to Sam's Chowder House. It is amazing. Beautiful, right there in Half Moon Bay. Fantastic food, incredible location. It's not a restaurant. It's like an event. There's the lobster roll. It's a beautiful place. Oh my God, the paella is a thing of beauty. The cioppino is, you need two bibs. The sourdough, the sunshine.
Larry, it's a get right restaurant. You need a get right opponent. It's a get right restaurant for sure.
It's a get right spot. So for sure, good morning to everybody. I don't know how you feel about this game, Damon, but I do think that the Chiefs own the Niners, but the Niners own the Cowboys. And why, if you get into why do the Niners own the Cowboys? The Niners own the Cowboys because the Niners can run the football and they can stop the run, and the Cowboys can't run the football and can't stop the run. And when you have two teams that, play each other that have those traits, it's like there's almost no way for the Cowboys to win unless it's a turnover fest or a special teams nightmare. And I'll say it right now. Unless it's a turnover fest or a special teams nightmare, I like the Niners to win this game and get to 500 going into the bye week.
I do too. And it really, you got to remove some of the emotion from it, right? Just sit back and look at how two football teams match up. Forget about availability even. Forget about the bad feelings of Brandon Ayuk's knee injury and the weird bout of pneumonia that it looks like Debo is playing himself through and will be available on Sunday, which is good news. But just from what do you do pretty well and what does that other team really do poorly? Run the ball, baby. This is a run-the-ball football game. And look, the 49ers, they got red zone issues, Larry, but they don't really have offensive issues. I think this is a defense that you can take advantage of. Every other team that's played the Cowboys pretty much has. Right now, the San Francisco 49ers, with all of their struggles and headaches aside, have the third most yards per game in the NFL. They're averaging 404 yards of offense per game. Only Baltimore and Detroit average more. If they had any kind of representation in the red zone that was normal, they'd be 5-2 right now. They really would be, even with their defensive problems and struggles. Another 400-yard game against the Cowboys would give the 49ers their most offensive yards through 8 games since 1998, 26 years. So while we are all breathlessly reacting to losses, the truth is the 49ers are still moving the football all over the field, no matter who's out there, no matter who's been available. No Christian McCaffrey, no problem moving the football. Brandon Ayuk way behind the curve so far all year, no problem. You're moving the football. Debo only had one game all year that's been good, no problem. You're moving the football. Score it in the red zone, get off the field on third down, make sure CD Lamb doesn't go bonkers on you and single-handedly be winning dudes fantasy weeks. And I think that they're going to win. I really do. Shanahan, like you said, there's some institutional knowledge that I think you have to bake into this. And there's a lot of institutional knowledge that Kansas City bakes into beating Kyle Shanahan. Shanahan beats the Cowboys. He has 3 years in a row. So I like him to do it again this year, bye week for the Cowboys aside.
There is some news that we should start with this morning too, Damon. John Lynch went on KMBR this morning for his regular Friday hit and indicated that Dre Greenlaw, Talanoa Hufanga, and Christian McCaffrey will all absolutely be back this season. So, there was some question about Hufanga. In the last 24 hours, Silver had a note saying that the 49ers believed that Hufanga was out for the year. It was quickly refuted by his agent, who said he expects him to be back playing with a cast on in a few weeks. And then, of course, McCaffrey, they're saying they're going to try to ramp him up after the bye week. John Lynch also on the radio today said he likes the depth of his receivers, but he will field calls. And he says, I think our track record has shown we're always going to field calls and make calls. If we can improve our team, we will. So that's it. And then also Lynch also indicated this morning, Damon, that if the 49ers indeed make the playoffs, there's a chance that Javon Hargrave could return. So there you go. Some news this morning from Niner land. Of course, practice will be later this afternoon. Kyle will talk to us around 1:30. Practice at 12:30 down here in Santa Clara.
Well, look, it's time to get things pointed in the right direction. So all of that sounds pretty good to me. And if you're a Niner fan, I think all of that news has got to hit your ear as, you're really happy to hear all that, because it's going to take all of that, I think, coming together to get this season back to where you hoped it was going to be when the year started. Things got off to weird vibes. There's no doubt. The whole season got off to a very awkward start with awkward feelings around all of it. The truth is, this is still a pretty good football team. Even as banged up as they've been, they're not horrific. They are not the trash can emoji that so many people are suggesting. Oh, this is a trash team now. They're just awful. Break them all up. And it is right, I think, that John Lynch be taking phone calls, making phone calls. Curiosity is good. Be curious in life. I tell my kids every day, be curious. Ask questions. It's always good. You never know what the answers might be. You could learn something. But boy, I would really tread lightfully in any kind of trade market, because giving up future assets to find out that the player that you might need might be on your depth chart all along. Like, you drafted these guys, Kyle. You got to throw them into action a little earlier, a little bit more than you're comfortable doing. Well, sometimes discomfort can be good for a football team. And you find things out about who can answer the bell and who can really step up into situations. I would love to see Ronnie Bell prove all of us wrong. I would love to see Jacob Cowan go out there and have like a 5-catch, 100-yard game where he really looks like a deep threat downfield. I'd like for Deebo Samuel to remind us of who he was after a week off with his issues, come back and have himself a big game against the Dallas Cowboys. George Kittle's having a really good year. Keep it up, George Kittle. Brock Purdy had a bad game in an otherwise pretty damn good year. Just get back to being right, Brock. Get back to operating in that 15-yard box where you're really good 12 yards in front of the line of scrimmage and really good about 3 yards behind the line of scrimmage. You're setting up screen games. You're not hunting downfield for the big play that really isn't there. Getting back to basics, I think, gets the Niners back into the win column and gets them into the bye week, with a feel-good win over the Dallas Cowboys. Because you beat the Dallas Cowboys on Sunday Night Football, that's a feel-good story. That's everybody laughing at the Cowboys on Monday morning and everybody going, hey, Niners look pretty good last night. And that's what I think the Niners need.
Well, it's a lot there. I would say, one thing that's clear in this game is that Dallas has the best special teams unit in football, and the Niners have the 31st special teams unit in football. So punt return, very much a concern. Kickoff return, very much a concern. Unless those things blow up, I do like the 49ers. But, the 49ers, I do, as far as injuries in this game, I don't think we're going to see Juwan Jennings. He has not practiced all week with the hip. I do think we're going to see Deebo Samuel and JP Mason. Mason's got the AC joint sprain. He's been out there with the blue jersey. They've been nursing him along all week. I think you're going to see him. My guess is 15 carries in that range. He had 14 last week. He maybe gets a couple more this week, but I think like a 15 carry workload for him is probably coming. Deebo, I expect, will probably come back from the pneumonia and suit up. I think Pearsall will probably be a little bit better in his second start. And Cowing, I think, is kind of the guy to watch for, Damon, because he's the guy who separates vertically and he can get separation downfield. And that's really what when you lose Ayuk, what do you need? You need somebody to run the deep routes. And that's what Ayuk did. Now, is Ayuk a true deep threat? Not really. But on this team, he is their deep threat. So Cowing now has to step in as their deep threat. And you know the way Purdy likes to attack down the field, he's very aggressive. So I expect Jacob Cowing to be a significant factor in this game. And I'm hoping that Pearsall maybe can have his bust out performance as well. It's asking a lot, though, of two rookies to step up. And I really think that, if you're inside your Super Bowl window, you're in this division with these bad teams, Cardinals, Rams, Seahawks. I realize the Rams won last night. The Rams may not sell Cooper Kupp or Tutu Atwell now that they won last night. We'll see. But if you're in that mode in this division, it's like, you know what? You really should try to add something at the trade deadline, because all it takes is get to the playoffs. I mean, it's not like the NBA where you're just, it's a very, very, very difficult to win out of the play-in, tournament or whatever. In football, you're still going to have 3 games. If you get on a roll, so you win 3 games. Yeah, you're going to have to win on the road, but the Niners have done it before on the road, and they're the veteran team that's been there and done it. So for them, it's obviously just about just get in and then be playing good football at the end. That's the key.
Yeah.
See if you can go to the Super Bowl.
The Niners really don't even play road games. They bring such a decent crowd with them everywhere they go. So, yeah, they're prepared to go and win a game on the road. Huh?
Who in the NFC would you look at and say they can't beat that team on the road? They can beat all of the NFC contenders on the road in December if need be. I mean, I don't look at the playoffs and go, uh-oh. Now, I do look at Kansas City and go, wow, they're just on a totally different level right now.
Here's the thing.
The road to Kansas City, I think they could get there.
I wouldn't want to go to Minnesota. Just hasn't been a good place for the 49ers. I wouldn't want to go to Minnesota. I don't think I'd want to go to Detroit either, but you might have to. Yeah,
yeah. Sam Darnold. And look, Sam Darnold is, people talk about Brock turning into a pumpkin. If there's a guy that might turn into a pumpkin, it might be Sam Darnold.
It might be. Boy, did he get a bad call against him, though. That's like the most obvious face mask of all time. And of course, the NFL blew that. Could you imagine if that had been a face mask on Patrick Mahomes? How many flags? It would have been like the United Nations. There would have been so many flags thrown at that play, Larry. But Sam Darnold doesn't get the face mask in the end zone. And look, the Vikings, who were cooking with all kinds of fish grease at 5-0, have now lost 2 in a row, and things change that fast. And that's where I want to come back to the Niners, because as bad as this has all been and as unsatisfying as it's all been, things change fast. What kind of year the Niners are going to have? Beat the Dallas Cowboys, go on your bye week, play your next 4 games with 3 of them against hard opponents on the road. Then I'm going to be able to tell you what kind of year the Niners are going to have. All of it, everything we're going to need to know is going to be decided in the next 4 games after the bye week. But you got to get to the bye week the right way, and that is by beating the Dallas Cowboys. I saw this note, again, Rams are taking calls on Cooper Kupp at 1-4. The sky is falling. They win 2 games in a row, and look at how everything changes. 49ers haven't even won 2 games in a row yet. So start with that.
Really is, more of an indictment than anything. I mean, we're almost at Halloween, and they haven't won 2 in a row.
Not
is
good.
It possible they're not very good? I mean, that's the other possibility. It's like we have to kind of come to grips with is like, hey, guess what? It's a new year. They may not be that great this year. They may have regressed significantly. So we'll see. We'll see. I mean, Shanahan has sent out the message that, hey, look, we've been here before, and the guys in that room have been here before. And what have we done in the past? We've circled the wagons. We've righted the ship. We've started to play better football, and then we get it cooking and get it rolling. All right, well, let's see it. let's see it. Let's see if you can do it. All the power to you. Good luck to you. God bless you. Hope you get it done. Right now, right now, what I see is a D line that's good, not great. A linebacking core that used to be the best in football that now has one guy and a bunch of question marks. Safeties that lack range. Special teams that are a consistent circus. All right. A great young quarterback, but one that has a lot of pressure on him. An offensive line that has a couple holes and doesn't open run lanes and short yardage down on the goal line. That's for sure. I see a back that's really talented, but despite his size and dimensions, you would swear he'd be a great short yardage runner. He's really not. He's not a good short yardage runner. So he's not a move the chains guy, but he is a big play runner with great balance, and he's giving him a lift. And then it's been a lot of injuries. No, Debo was out, Ayuk's out, CMC's out, JJ's out. And I don't think they got a lot of speed at wide receiver other than Cowing. So, Ronnie Bell, it's time to play. Chris Conley, it's time to go. It's time to play. But I think the Niners do need another receiver. I saw a rumor this morning, a 4th-round pick for Deontay Johnson. That might not be bad. Somebody said maybe a couple picks to Denver for Cortland Sutton. That might not be bad. I would prefer speed over, just size and strength.
And I'll just say, fantasy is a bad way to evaluate an NFL player's value, but I got Cortland Sutton on my 1-6 fantasy football team right now. He has not done anything, Larry. So I'm just down on Cortland Sutton. I don't know if that's the solution.
Well, I'll give you a sleeper.
Okay.
Now. I have Malik Neighbors on my fantasy team.
I don't think the Giants are about to trade Malik Neighbors, Larry.
No, they're not going to move Malik Neighbors. But because I have Malik Neighbors, I have been kind of following the Giants and who's getting the ball and who looks good. Darius Slayton is a pretty big receiver who's had a couple of years in the NFL to kind of figure it out. He's kind of figured it out this year. He's a big receiver who runs 4.39. The Giants are going nowhere. And he's totally available. Let's just say that. I think from what I hear, Darius Slayton could be a sleeper. If you could get Darius Slayton and Azeez Ojulari or something like that from the Giants, where you got a pass rusher and a receiver, some move like that. Win this game against Dallas, get into the bye week, make a move or two that brings in a couple of players. Don't gut your your picks, but make a couple moves and tee it up after the bye week against Tampa, ready to roll and see if you can make a run towards, winning the division. And then once you get in, I kind of feel like once they get in, anything can happen.
Sure. I mean, that's how any team should feel about it. And this is the biggest any given Sunday sport you're going to find. So, yeah, anyone gets in there could beat anybody. There's no such thing as the playoff team that has got no chance of winning this game. I mean, I had people telling me last night because I bet on the Rams, Larry. I made the bet live on the air. And, people are like, oh, Damon, you're just throwing $25 away, man. This is going to be the Vikings. There's no chance. The Rams are giving up on the year, and there's just no chance. And I'm like, yeah, that's exactly why I'm betting on the Rams, because that's the way this league works. Right when you think that other team has got no shot, they win 3 in a row. Like, that's just the weird nature of football these days. And, I saw this too. So the Rams, their win last night now has them, in third place in the division, and the 49ers have fallen to last place. After the Rams win, the 49ers are in last place in the NFC West, but have the best point differential in the division.
Wow.
The Niners are dead last at plus 22. First place Seahawks plus 16. Second place Cardinals minus 28. Third place Rams minus 30. Kyle Posey pointed this out. Niners last place plus 22. Again, you're right, man. All these wide receivers that we've said may be too slow, got old, got hurt, got pneumonia, just unimpressive all the way around. Guess what? The 49ers are averaging better than 400 yards of offense per game. I mean, bad teams don't get 400 a pop. They don't. So They are 2 red zone touchdowns and 1 special teams fuck up away from being 5-2. So as bad as it is, and I agree with you, they're average defensively, they're above average offensively. And I think that that's enough to get you to where you need to go as long as you handle business and don't let a Cowboys team who is built to be run upon. They give up 150 yards to ball carriers every game. Total yardage between rushing and receiving. You can kill the Dallas Cowboys with some talent coming out of your backfield. And get off third down and win this game and keep on plugging away. It ain't going to be pretty. I don't think, I saw somebody in the comments.
Dallas has been good on the road, by the way. Really good on the road.
Well, then they haven't been good at all at home. And you could say the same thing about the Niners, right?
Well, the Niners, I think the Niners have been pretty good. I kind of prefer the Niners on the road sometimes. It seems like they lay more eggs at home than on the road. They seem more focused on the road.
Which is good come playoff time if you got to go on the road, if you really believe that and feel that way. But I look at this game as the vulnerability bowl, Larry. Like this is the game that you need to win to prevent yourself from dying of exposure out in the forest that is the NFL. Like the team that fails to win on Sunday, whether it be the Cowboys or the 49ers, is officially now balancing on the tightrope as carefully as possible. Like if you lose this game, one more injury, one more loss, one more the week breaks around you in the wrong direction, you really could be done. We don't have the math yet for our official must-win designations, but this is the team that loses this game will be so exposed going forward and still a very long football season that you don't want to be that team. One more injury, one more loss, and that could be it. So this is a very important game.
It's not it because the division, but I know what you're saying. I mean, there's still a lot of football left. It's weird that you're talking like this because we were talking to Trent Williams the other day at his locker, and he's like, yeah, it's a long season and there's a lot of football left and, this and that. And it really is true, but they're getting to a point now where if they lose this week, the only thing that will be there for them will be to outrun the other 3 teams in the division because they're getting to a point that the wild cards will not be in play. You know what I mean? A couple wild cards are probably coming from the north. The Lions are probably going to win the division, let's say, but the Vikings and the Packers are going to be 2 of the wild card teams for sure, So it's just going to be very, very competitive. And their only route to a playoff berth could be by winning the division, even if they lose this game on Sunday. But more than anything, it's like this team needs to right the ship and start to feel good and start to turn it around. Because, I really do believe that you do lose belief at some point if you get to a certain point in the year and you're just not playing very good football.
I agree.
I don't think they're there, but it's time for them to win.
Well, and it sets up for the turnaround, though, Larry. I mean, I really think it does because here it is. Your arch rival, the fucking Cowboys. Everybody hates them. Beat the Cowboys. Everybody's going to walk out of Levi Stadium feeling real good. People go be floating out of there. And I don't care if it's a 5-point win, a 1-point win, a 3-touchdown win. It just beat the Cowboys. That's it. Then you get the bye week, which is just the natural break. And, that's everything that happened is in the past now. And we can officially put it behind us. And it's far enough away from us where we don't even feel it anymore. And it's all about who we are going forward. Like, I really do like the way this week sets up before the bye, before it gets real tough again. I mean, it's the 4 games after the bye week where we're really going to find out which way this fork in the road takes us. That's when we're going to find out what this damn team is all about or not. Yeah, but I do think they're all about beating the Cowboys. I do. I think they beat the Cowboys and the look good, feel good, play good formula that we both talk about. Hopefully comes, somebody writes it on the chalkboard and there it is. We feel good now.
They got to right the ship and they got to get things going and have a win and feel good and preferably a big win. It's just right now it's been a slog. I mean, it just feels like they're just laboring through the season. And
well, do you feel the weight of it in the locker room? I mean, like, is it a dour locker room that you've been in? Because you seem to be a little dour at Levi's Stadium. Maybe there's just a hex over the place right now. I don't know. What
do I seem dour over this?
You do. Your energy is more concerned about this. I thought you were going to meet me out on the go beat the fucking Cowboys and then see what you got from there sort of platform that I've been walking on in this show. And I really believe that. But you do. You feel a little stung. You feel a little apprehensive. I mean, and you got reasons to feel that way. Your reasons are not unfounded. But are you projecting the bad energy that you picking up on in that locker room?
It's not bad energy. They have belief. They've had the advantage over the Cowboys, but it's just the team, the defense. I mean, their winning equation has eroded. They've, offensively, they had all these great weapons. They don't have them anymore. I mean, Debo doesn't look like Debo. He's broken 2 tackles all year. Kittle's 30. Ayuk's done for the year. CMC sounds like, his career is dangling by a thread with his Achilles. Who knows his status? Mason looks great, but he's got an AC joint sprain. Their backup running backs, they either don't trust or are pretty raw. Their backup tight ends are not that good. Their backup receivers are Ronnie Bell and Pearsall and Cowing, and they just need a little help there. They've lost their weaponry. It's not an awesome offensive line. And then on the other side of the ball, the defense lacks swagger. The Niners are mid-pack, and they're 14th in total D. They're 16th in pass D. They don't have a lot of speed on the perimeter. They did a night. I'll say this. I'll give you why I feel good. I feel good because the Niner rookie class is giving them a real lift. Like upon the rewatch, I loved what I saw from Malik Mustafa. I loved what I saw from Renardo Green. Renardo Green had a terrific game. So those two guys are playing lots and lots of snaps on defense and playing terrific. And that's a great sign. But they're still they need help. They really do need help. They could use another linebacker. I'm worried about whether Greenlaw can come back or not. I think they need another pass rusher up front. They could probably use another defensive tackle. They're relatively thin there. So they're kind of dangling. And here comes the Cowboys. And the Cowboys we know have CeeDee Lamb and Prescott and a bully defense, right? They don't stop the run, but if they get a lead on you, like this isn't a team to fall into a 14-0 hole against. The Cowboys are experts at turning 14-0 into 24-0 in like the blink of an eye. They're total bully team typically. But they're
going to be without DeMarcus Lawrence. They're going to be without Micah Parsons. Is Deron Bland playing in this game or not? Do we know yet?
No Bland, no Parsons, no Lawrence. Lawrence is on IR. So no, the Cowboys are down. I mean, on paper, I look at this and I say, JP Mason, run him all freaking day at the league's 27th worst rush D. And just, Cowboys are giving up almost a 150 on the ground. Niners are running for 150. Run the heck out of the ball on the Cowboys, run for 200 yards, run 40 times, so I think there's a lot of ways for the Niners to win, but if they fall behind and they lose this game and they're bad again on special teams and Dallas comes out because they got 7 extra days of rest with tons more energy and they're beating them to the punch, and the Niners wind up losing this game, that's going to be, and they go into the bye 3-5. I don't know. What do you do then? Do you sit there and say, well, the division's still within reach, or but we need help, or do you say, no, we won't trade for anybody. We'll just play it out. I mean, I don't know. It's going to be to me, 2 weeks ago, I said, these are 2 crucial weeks. If they win these 2 games, they're 5-3, they're rolling. And instead, if they lose these 2 weeks, they're 3-5 and they may be selling.
Yeah. No, this is
happen.
it. This is, if you'd like to see what the rest of your year could possibly be, lose the vulnerability bowl and find out. I mean, this is both of these teams need this game desperately.
Yep.
I saw Jennifer Pasaciente. Is that how you say her name, from Sports Illustrated? She wrote that. I think she might have boiled it all down right here. This is what the entire game comes down to. San Francisco's offense is top 10 in points per game, yards per play, and third down conversion. Just get off the field on third down, and I think you win this game. San Francisco's defense, though, has allowed 46% conversion rate on third down, which is 27th, and Dallas's offense is top 10 in third down conversion. Dak, whatever you think of him, he plays well on Sunday Night Football. He does. Dak is 13-8 on Sunday Night Football. Purdy has won his only Sunday Night Football game. And, you got a rest advantage in a bye week.
What did you say it was, Damon? You said 46% is what the Niners are giving up on third down?
Third down conversion rate allowed. Yeah, 46%.
What did you say? What did you say was ranked?
27th in football.
Wow.
Yeah, and Dallas's offense is top 10 in third down conversion. So, that is where the game probably gets decided. Getting off the field on third down, and then you're right. An awful lot of J.P. Mason and Patrick Taylor and Isaac Guerrero and Debo on his end arounds or whatever. Cowboys defense has allowed 150 all-purpose yards per game to opposing running backs this season, along with 9 touchdowns across 6 games. They're the worst in the NFL. They got a 0.16 EPA per play against the run. That is far and away the worst run defense in football, and is tracking to be a historically bad run defense. As a matter of fact, there is more running the ball against the Cowboys is such an efficient way to move the football downfield. Running the Cowboys is as efficient as passing the ball against all but 5 NFL teams. So run the ball. And what I really want to see, I thought Lombardi had a very interesting note this week. And I've been talking about just getting back to who you are. And boy, I want to talk about the clip that you, Larry, got out of Brock Purdy, where he basically said, yeah, I don't call audibles at the line. I go up there with an escape hatch built into every plan if the blitz comes, but it's baked in. He I believe said, but he doesn't call audibles at the line.
Here it is. So we'll let everybody see it.
Play it, please.
This is from yesterday.
This is fascinating, I think.
Okay. Let's see where we go. Let me see here. Do you see him?
Yes, I do.
Okay, here we go.
So there was one play where they walked an 8th guy into the box, and then they added a 9th guy to the box. In that situation, they're giving you that kind of a look. Do you have the ability to audible to a pass play and go to something different? What are your limitations at the line?
Usually we just have an answer built into the play. And so if we do have like an all-out blitz or something, we usually have an answer of where I should be hitting or where I should be going. And there's very rare occasions where we walk up to the line and we get a look and it's, oh, shoot, they got us. And then I'm supposed to randomly make up an audible. There's nothing like that. We usually always have an answer for pressures, all-out blitz, and things like that. So that's on me to get to the right guy.
Go ahead.
You
wanted to comment on that?
Well, I think that some people are taking that and running in the wrong direction with it because they're like, oh, he's not empowered to do what he thinks needs to be done at the line of scrimmage. And that's the opposite of Peyton Manning and excellent quarterbacks in the past. And it just shows you what a control freak Kyle is. And maybe there's some of all of that baked in there. But, I hear what he's saying. Every single play we have has a, oh, shit plan, baked right into it. But he also, Larry, like he has to have the freedom to go up there and to check into something else. I mean, Kyle's not so great.
He said as much.
Yeah.
I mean, he basically said as much, right? He basically said that he's got an option on every play. He's got something built in on every play. It's funny. I was shocked at the number of people that took that as like somehow, so Shanahan's blowing it. It's like, what?
Right.
This guy's having an amazing year. The Niners statistically are, as you said, putting up 400 yards. Nobody's blowing anything. To me, how could you be critical of Shanahan for what? Making things simpler at the line of scrimmage for his quarterback, so his quarterback doesn't have to have a catalog in his head of the perfect pass plays to audible to in every scenario. So he's got, a check down or an option that he can go to at the line for most of the plays that they run. I mean, that to me seems like it would help the quarterback, not hurt the quarterback, and essentially is a built-in audible that Brock's got available. In other words, Brock was saying there, yeah, we did get a 9-man box. Yeah, it's built into the play. And yeah, I didn't make the right decision. I didn't go to that play. But
Right.
yeah, I mean, it was discouraging looking at it, right? Because you're looking at a defensive front that looks like they're playing heavy run. Then they walk the 8th guy up on the line of scrimmage. Then they walk a 9th guy into the A gap. And you're like, wait a second. Are they going to go double A gap pressure and try to blitz through the A gap? And they're showing a heavy goal line run look. And sure enough, the Niners ran JP Mason into that same look and got stuffed on the play. And I just was thinking to myself, hey, they've got to be able to audible when they see that much run stuff pre-snap to a pass play that, throws it over their head.
Right. That doesn't look like a scenario where you're going to be going with option D as much as it looks like just get out of that play entirely and get yourself into something else. And to hear Brock saying that, no, we don't really get into another play based on the front that we see. I had to listen to it a couple times. And I immediately knew that, certain content creators were going to pick that up and run with it as far as they could to prove that, Kyle is way too maniacal in his control and Brock doesn't have the freedom that he needs to have. And it is a little weird, but he's got to have a second play up there. And I also remember anything that's being said at a lectern in a press conference doesn't have, 100% truth built into it. But, it was kind of interesting. The Sentinel, funny comment here. Larry, I got a Jewish mother and isn't even as micromanaging in my life as Kyle micromanages his quarterback situation. Look, I don't think that criticism is totally unfounded. It's not. But so the thing that Lombardi had that I said was really, really interesting before we got into this Brock comment, which good, nice job getting a soundbite out of him.
I wasn't sure. Was it a shock? Was it a shocking? I didn't think it was going to have legs like that. I just was kind of curious about what his methodology was, what's available to him. I hope it was.
Here's the thing. It's the first peek behind the curtain we got. Right? Like no one's really asked that question, and it hasn't been answered that concretely since no one has really asked it. So it's the first look at all we've ever gotten of it. And it's probably not what a lot of people expected or wanted to hear, but that doesn't necessarily make it a bad thing.
Yeah.
Anyways, the Lombardi point, which I just think is another one of those like, well, this is why things don't look like they used to. The 49ers have generated just one explosive play on a target behind the line of scrimmage so far this season. And from 2018 through 23, they generated 70 of those, third most in the NFL. The 49ers are dead last in yards after catch, which used to be their sole offensive identity. And playing behind the line of scrimmage with a screen that is set to pop for big yardage. Again, yeah, sure, you're missing Christian McCaffrey, and that's McCaffrey's bread and butter. But it shouldn't just be one explosive play through 7 weeks if you're the 49ers and you run these plays all the time. Like Isaac Guerrero should have had one of these by now, the same way that he's busted off the longest run of the year so far. He had one of those. Even bad running backs have one big play every year. The 49ers running backs and their screen game should be generating something more than just one explosive play so far this year, the same way their offense should be generating more than dead last in yak yardage across the NFL this year. I mean,
their receivers are slow.
Sure, but these are the same kind of slow receivers that had great success in these categories in the years running up to this. And it's not like everybody got 5 years older overnight. It's not that. I mean, Debo
guys do get old overnight. The old coach used to say to me, Larry, let me tell you, when sometimes guys just get old. You know what I'm saying, Larry?
You've done this all three shows this week. I love it. I love it.
Guys just get old, and then all they
Guys-
got is that name on the back of the jersey. You know what I'm saying? They're
here's the
not
thing,
the same
even
guy no more.
Even just the name on the back of the jersey should mean you're 22nd in yak yards, not dead last, right?
No, think about it. Think about it this way, Damon. They're getting more man. First of all, I think it's easier to get separation or get yak when you can lead a guy to avoid in the zone and kind of lead him into run after the catch with accuracy on those touch throws in the intermediate, right? And that's where Brock is bread and butter. It typically is. When you're getting teams playing you more man-to-man coverage, then they're right there next to the receiver, especially if those receivers don't have speed to get away. And that's what you're seeing. Debo it's not like he doesn't have any big playability, but he's lost some of his big playability.
Yeah.
Ayuk's now out for the year, and he didn't have the same big playability he had a year ago. JJ's a great possession receiver. Kittle's 30. They don't have any speed. They drafted Cowing. They're just now getting him out there. So, okay. So he hasn't helped you. You had Terrace Marshall. You chose to cut him. He has 4.3 speed. Ronnie Bell is not a fast guy. He's a receiver who was a really good, dependable receiver at Michigan, but his greatest thing is his dad was a wide receiver coach in college, so he's very polished. So there wasn't a lot of upside there. And now that he's a couple of years into the NFL, we realize that he hasn't gotten any better because he was kind of maxed out at Michigan. He's not that big. He's not that fast. He was very refined in a lot of ways. So he doesn't have the normal young receiver curve. So he's not getting dramatically better. He's having to play. Cowing's now playing. Pearsall is just getting his feet wet. I mean, they don't have big playability at receiver, and they haven't had speed at receiver all year. So it's there. And then when teams man you up, everybody's there's a lot of guys also, Damon, that are like, it seems like they're running the route and they're coming back to the line of scrimmage. So it's like if you're curling your route and you're coming back to the line of scrimmage, it's hard to then turn and get upfield. They're not getting a lot of downfield stuff, and I think it's because of how they're being defended.
Well, look, if all it takes to beat the 49ers is throwing man coverage at you, then then the season's dead on arrival after all, right? I mean, if that is it, if that is the secret sauce of how you defend the 49ers, just run man against them, then they're in a lot of trouble. They are in a lot of trouble.
It's not quite that simple, but it exacerbates their lack of speed at wide receiver. So I do think they need to find some dynamic, there's three things you can do. You can beat people with power, you can beat people with speed, or you can beat people with ingenuity, right? Those are the three ways you can create space on a football field: fooling people, moving people, and running by them. And the Niners on the offensive line, they don't move people at the point of attack. That's why they can't run in the low red zone. They don't outquick you. Nick Bolton undercut Aaron Banks's block and blew up JP Mason. And there was a perfect example of that. The Chiefs defense was too quick. So the Niners aren't moving you. They're not outquicking you. Their weapons are not outquicking you. And so they really have to rely on Shanahan to scheme everything. And they haven't been able to do that either.
Look, I'm not trying to pick a fight, but how can you be that slow and that disappointing and average 400 yards of offense per game? So they are doing it. They move the football. They move the football
JP Mason
on all blades of grass. They are moving the football. And that is JP Mason. You're right. And JP Mason's got to be better in the red zone.
Ayuk, right?
Well, it was last year, but it really hasn't been this year. But for one game, Ayuk really didn't factor into how that game moved or flowed at all. So
but I mean, like for this game, it's you're not going to have Ayuk. You're not going to have JJ in this game. Debo is going to probably return.
Is it Juwan Jennings definitely out again?
Yeah, he's out. He has not practiced all week.
All right.
That's a major story, by the way. He hasn't even been here. Like, if he's here, he's nowhere out near the field. Usually guys are here working out or practicing, or if they're not practicing, they're on the side working out. I haven't seen him. So I don't know what he's not playing, I would say for sure this week.
Ricky Pearsall, come get it.
Yeah.
You know?
Chris Conley, come get it. And this is why I'm so worried, because the Niners, because of the injuries, they've had to make, like, their gunners are now starting on defense. They've made like a bunch of changes to their special teams. Now a lot of their best special teams guys are having to play from scrimmage, and that makes their coverage units even worse. And they're already lowly rated. That was with better players. So here comes Dallas and Turpin, and I just expect Dallas to have several big returns in this game. They better figure out a way to either dirty kick it, somehow get something. They cannot just line drive right to the 10, because Turpin's going to run one back.
Is there any chance that Moses Moody
would help?
Could Moses Moody help out? I mean, apparently, if you go to a Warriors game wearing a Warriors jersey, you can play. You'll get minutes. No, is there any chance that Jake Moody comes off of the questionable list and is activated? If not for anything other than just kickoffs, just kick the ball through the back of the end zone. No,
he's not even working out. Like, he's there.
All right, well, they got him listed like questionable, so I thought maybe.
No, he's out. I mean,
all right, well, then list him out.
He's like, if you came to practice, you'd think he's like a PR guy. He's not even even ready to like put on like workout clothes.
Why is Aaron Sulkin kicking field goals? What's going on?
I mean, it's like, who's that guy in civvies over there? Is that somebody's uncle? It's like, yeah, I mean, it's he's not even ready to work out yet. I thought I saw him just kind of like, he's not ready yet. I mean, he's a post-buy guy. Post CMC, Greenlaw, Jake Moody, all post-buy. Sounds like maybe Jennings too. So they're gonna have to figure out a way in this game to get to win without Jennings, without Ayuk. So that means it's got to be a lot of Debo. It's got to be a lot of JP Mason. It's got to be a lot of Kittle.
Hey, maybe some of this in the vacuum of just this week alone is a blessing in disguise, Larry. Like, I'm trying to find some sunshine to put on this here, right? What do we know the best way to beat the Cowboys is? Running the football. What's the one thing that with all this, absent availability at the wide receiver position, Kyle might, be just painted into the corner of doing less of? Throwing the football. What is our one complaint about Kyle is, even though he's got something that works, he wants to show you what a good, diverse coach he is, and he wants to show you something else at all times. He doesn't just want to beat you in column A, he wants to beat you in column B and column C as well, where, Andy Reid will just, I'm beating you in column A. Well, we're just going to run down column A a million different times today. So maybe this is good. Maybe this is good for the 49ers, who don't need to be putting the ball in the air 25 times against the Dallas Cowboys to win this game. They need to put the ball on the ground 43 times to win this game. And maybe because of just availability, that's what Kyle will do because he has to, which I think goes into beating the Cowboys. Unless CD Lamb goes bonkers, I just don't see them winning this game. I don't. And that's Mr. Special Teams mistake, right? I've been telling you, fire the special teams coach since kickoff of week 1. Avoid the special teams catastrophe. Don't let CD Lamb go full disco on you. And I think you win this game. I really do. I think you win this game. Kyle, the Cowboys bring out the best in the Niners. I won't even say they bring out the best in Shannon. The Cowboys, that uniform brings out the best in the Niners. It really does.
I mean, the Cowboys have a lot of talent, but they can't run the ball. I mean, I don't understand. To me, Jerry Jones ought to give it up. Give it up, Jerry. Give it up. Why? Because he's lost his mind. This team This is the franchise that had Tony Dorsett. This is the franchise of Emmitt Smith. You have no running backs. I mean, seriously, I could have told you on draft day, you have no running backs. I would have screamed if I'd been covering this team. Jerry would have put a hit on me.
Right.
I mean, you think Larry Bear didn't like me running up 2nd Street? Get him all! Get him all! Jerry goes back. Get that boy. Hey, get that guy off my radio. This guy's embarrassing me.
I get somebody new to ask these questions.
He's talking about my son. He'd be like, listen, Larry, I'll tell you, I'd own real estate in Jerry's head if I was a radio guy in Dallas, because it's all Jerry. Jerry, fall in a goddamn hole. Just walk away. Let somebody else do it. Here's the question. If I did a Jerry interview, I'd be like, Mr. Jones, I have one question, and one question only. At the end of the day, would you rather win a ton and own it, but not control it, or never win ever, but control it and run it and draft it and build it and play with it and tinker with it and whatever, basically what you've been doing? Would you rather, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You can win, but you can own it and you can win, but it's back to the Parcells, Jimmy Johnson model of get the hell out of here and get your fat kid out of here too. But if it's,
I would tell Jerry, be like, do you know that you can still be the owner of the Dallas Cowboys without being its general manager too?
Right.
You can still walk and shake the hand and do the business. You can still, you can still be Jerry Jones in every conceivable Jerry Jonesian-ish way. Just get out of the war room.
I mean, here's the thing. If I were Jerry Jones, I was thinking about this myself. If I had that money, if I was Jerry, what would I do? I probably would, you know me, Damon, I would probably force feed a couple undrafted free agents on my football team. If Larry Krueger was Jerry Jones, I probably would come in there and be like, hey, I need me some Evan Anderson. You know what I mean? I am that kind of a guy, right? You guys know me. I like the 7th rounder. I like the undrafted guy. There'll be some undrafted guy.
A little metal
demand.
A little meddlesome. Not a meddlesome.
A little meddlesome, but on meaningless shit. You know what I mean? Like, I need me some Tatum Bethune. I may put my foot down on like an undrafted free agent, but I'm not going to go dictate to my general manager everything and everything and anything. And I definitely wouldn't have all my family sitting there. The Cowboys they drafted Deuce Vaughn because his dad was a scout. He's a great little college football player, but he's tiny. They need a running back.
If you don't draft Tanner Mordecai, I swear to God, I will drown you in the Red River.
Guys, I'm going to take my yacht out with my beautiful wife, and I'm going to enjoy. I think we're going to sail out to the Farallons and drink a bottle of wine. Get me Mordecai after the draft.
You know what I think? So there was a story that came out this week that speaks to Larry
would go to Sam's Chowder House with Jerry's money. Jerry,
get some oysters for everybody.
Jerry, I want some oysters, Rockefeller. I want them called. I've told Sam I want them changed to Oysters Jones.
Yeah. By the way, show him. Yeah, there you go. You knew what to do. He knew exactly what to do. You show everybody Sam's Chowder House. By the way, everybody, hit like and subscribe on both these channels if you would, please, and get yourself to Half Moon Bay. Look at that lobster roll piled with lobster meat. Look at the paella. Look at the cioppino. Jerry Jones would pass all of those up to bring Ezekiel Elliott back. Yeah. That's when I knew Jerry Jones was all out of ideas, when Ezekiel Elliott came back into the building. But that brings us to something else that I think Jerry Jones is responsible for. Really, ownership sets the tone. When it comes to building facilities, when it comes to infrastructure.
Yeah, he's great.
Jerry Jones is possibly the greatest owner in the history of sports. Apparently, if you go to the Star in Dallas, it will blow you away. Like there
I've
is
seen
no, yeah, there's
You know,
nobody.
Go watch the HBO
Yes.
thing on it. It was
But
amazing. They had a little drone drive through the
drone shot.
entire,
Exactly.
fly through it, and it was the Star is pimping.
It's incredible. It's incredible. It's the facilities are second to none, and it looks amazing. It truly does. However, football is not the thing around the Dallas Cowboys. And you got to keep the main thing the main thing. And what a damning article I saw come out this week, where basically former Dallas Cowboys, now with their new teams, were asked about, so what's the difference? And Tony Pollard was a part of this article, and Kelvin Joseph, who's now in Kansas City, was a part of this article. Dante Fowler Jr., who's now with the Washington Commanders. And every single one of them basically said the exact same thing, saying, look, the facilities in Dallas are second to none. But this is about football over here. This is about football over here. And the reason why Dallas's facilities are so incredible is because they've become showpieces that are literally part of the tour. And Ben DiNucci, who was a longtime backup quarterback of the Dallas Cowboys, saw this article and quote tweeted it, basically saying, I'll never forget when I would work out on Tuesday mornings and have people tapping on the weight room glass like I was supposed to do something cool or perform a trick on command. And there's all of these tour groups. And while the football team is looking to focus and prepare, there are just a million different entities vying for their attention. And it's just, Tony Pollard basically said, look, Tennessee, it's about football. Like everything that goes on in this practice facility is about becoming a better football team, where half of what goes on in the Star is about becoming a better football team. The other half is just there to glorify the brand of the Dallas Cowboys. And that's why, football is no longer the main thing. And my God, just listen to Jerry Jones do a moment of press where he will basically tell you that bad headlines are just as good for his franchise as good headlines. From an attention standpoint, I guess I get the gist of what you're saying there, Jera. But
they don't play for headlines. They play for Super Bowls.
Thank you. And that's, I think, the freaking point that everyone was trying to make in this article.
We're not trying to win the Cotton Bowl. We're not trying to win the Blue Bonnet Bowl. Remember John Gruden? Remember that? We're trying to win the Super Bowl.
The best was when Steve Spurrier was at Florida and he was taking shots at Tennessee, and he's like, you can't spell citrus without UT.
That is awesome. All right.
By the way, game days in Bloomington tomorrow. The single greatest day of Indiana football's program is tomorrow. And just to build a little Bay Area interest into that game, Trace Jackson Davis's brother is Indiana's starting quarterback in this game. Trace Jackson Davis's brother, Tavon Jackson, is going to be the Hoosiers quarterback in this game. Freshman? Because Rourke is out and hurt. No, I think he's a junior. He transferred in. And I'll tell you, he's pretty good. He's pretty good. So I still like Indiana's chances to maybe even beat Washington, who's coming into town for game day. But I can't believe it. Larry, if you would have ever said, here's what's going to happen a few years from now. You won't be on the radio, but you'll have 25,000 subscribers on YouTube. And, oh, by the way, thanks very much, everyone. We did cross that threshold. Thank you very, very much. You'd have 25,000 subscribers on YouTube the same weekend that game day would be rolling into Bloomington. I would have told you, no, neither of those is going to happen. But here we are. This is strange times indeed.
You made it to 25K?
Yes, absolutely. Nice. Just crossed the line this morning. So thanks to everyone.
Look at this one. We have Fuji Simeon saying, congrats, Damon, on 25K.
Thank you.
Happy news from all the terrible Niner news. Please beat the Cowboys. Dodger coworkers are one thing. Cowboy coworkers are another. By the way, go Yankees tonight. I'll be doing a little post World Series Game 1 live stream with Ned Colletti and Glenn Kuiper tonight. By the way, I looked up, I found the Gruden cut. Here's the Gruden cut.
Give it to me.
From Hard Knocks, which is so spectacular.
Listen, we got to come out early in the morning and get our work done. 95% of our practices and pads are going to be in the what? Morning. I do not want to have a horse shit practice in the morning. In the old days, we practice in the afternoon 2 more times in pads. Nowadays, I get incarcerated for that. You with me? We come out here, we are ready to roll in the morning. We're going to take the training wheels off pretty soon, okay? You can only have so many walkthroughs, so many assignment periods. If you don't know what to do, you won't play here. Are we clear on that? Okay. Last point I want to make. Everybody right now has dreams, don't they, guys? All right. Everybody in the NFL, I have a dream of making it in the NFL. I got a dream of winning a Super Bowl. I got a dream of being in a Pro Bowl. I'm really not into dreams anymore. Okay. I'm into fucking nightmares. You guys with me on that? You got to end somebody's dream. You got to take their job. You got to take their heart. Are you guys clear about this NFL shit now? We're not trying to go to the Peach Bowl. We're not trying to go to the Gator Bowl or the Bluebonnet Bowl. We're trying to go to the Super Bowl.
All right. First of all, no, I mean,
One of the greatest intros of all time.
say whatever you want
that
about
was
John
amazing.
Gruden, his emails, or blah, blah, blah. I'm ready to
That
run
was
through a
amazing.
fucking wall right now, Larry. I'm ready.
We're not going to the Gator Bowl, all right? We're not going to the Blue Bonnet Bowl. Oh, that is awesome. That is awesome. All right, we got a couple. We got this one right here. Velius, new member. Always a little clap for the new members. Velius. Come
Excellent.
on down, Velius. Okay, we got Fuji
Maybe it's
Simeon in the
Velius.
house. We got this one ending. Are you saying that I'm mispronouncing that?
Good-
Is
I
that
don't know.
Balake? Balake?
Is it Velociraptor? What is that?
Who's it? Aaron. Do I see an Aaron? It goes by, I think it's Aaron.
What's that from? Is that the
That's from
Simpsons?
Key and Peele.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Key and Peele, just epic Key and Peele. Ending early extending. Says 49er weapons are inexperienced. Attention to detail and executing assignments will determine offensive success going forward. Talent and plays are there.
Hey,
Pretty
look,
insightful.
playing with less than top shelf liquor skill players is the world that Brock Purdy is going to be living in sooner than later. So executing with what you got is about to be the name of the game for him. So
Well, good, cheap. Yeah, they're going to need cheap players. But guess what? There's good players that are expensive and good players that are cheap. There's great players that are expensive. There's great players that are cheap. There are lousy players that are expensive and lousy players that are cheap. The key is you're going to have some cheap players, but you're also going to have some good players.
Yep.
And so that's their drafting is going to have to pick up. Fuji Simeon says Cam Newton is the new Mad Hatter. Cam Newton.
really likes his
Blood
head.
Moon says get David Njoku or F them picks and get Garrett Wilson. Lynch's crowning jewel was Christian McCaffrey. I believe John Lynch has 2 more jewels in him. Yes, to do in-season trades. Get right, Niners. I will say this, Damon. The Njoku name has come up a couple times. That's an interesting one. Really good receiving tight end who I think, is totally gettable. Cleveland is looking to do a fire sale because of the Watson contract. But Garrett Wilson's name is interesting. Why? Because the Niners, I really think, need to add a young, significant receiver and invest some picks in that trade. And Garrett Wilson, if he's available, should be their target. Why? Because he is dynamic. He runs 4.38. He's a route runner. And look at next year. You're going to go. The reality of the Niners situation is they're not going to have Debo or Ayuk next year. And so they're going to need another receiver who's pretty dynamic to go next to Pearsall and JJ and Cowing. And a guy like Garrett Wilson would make sense.
My question is,
I
Larry,
would trade that. I would trade a pick if I could get. I would trade a couple picks if I could get Garrett Wilson.
Larry, why would the New York Jets trade a 24-year-old total stud wide receiver on a rookie contract?
for why would they do it? I'll tell you why they do it. They would do it because they have an old quarterback and they don't have a young quarterback on the horizon. So what do they need? They need to get at the top of the draft. So they need number ones and they need picks because they, spend a lot of money and now they need to have multiple number ones so they can trade for that young quarterback who's coming after Rodgers.
But again, then you're going to need that young quarterback to have a target that can't possibly be as good as Garrett Wilson would be the day your young quarterback was there. I mean, I hear you, but it's the never-ending vicious cycle of what the
they're
Jets
probably
need.
not going to do it.
Yeah, they're just not trading Garrett Wilson. I mean,
I don't think so either, but there's been a lot of smoke about it. Fuji Simeon says, Damon, still doing the live stream of the Niner game. Larry, are you still doing the World Series post stream? Is this make or break for Schneider? I do think it's make or break for Schneider. I am doing a Game 1 World Series post game live stream tonight. It's going to be a crazy day. I'll be here all day. I'll be on CamBR. I'll be doing my Niners nightly at 6 p.m. And then I'm going to go do a live stream after Game 1 of Yankees Dodgers with Ned Coletti. And we've invited Glenn Kuiper as well. So that coming up later tonight on the Krueger show. So yes. And Damon, are you still doing a live stream?
We're going to do the watch party again Sunday night. Absolutely. We're going to do the watch party again. It was a lot of fun. So many people who tuned in said this was actually better than the game because that game went so wonky on them. They liked the live in-game therapy session that the watch party turned into. So we're going to do it again. I had fun with it. And I also have the house to myself this weekend, like right through Sunday night. Yeah, listen to this. So Jack is going for a 2-night overnight with the grandparents, and Jillian is taking Ozzy up to Tahoe to hang out with a friend of hers and her kids in a cabin up there for the weekend. And I got the house to myself, which is perfect because I got.
What are you going to do? A risky business? I mean, are you going to? Is it? You're going to take the car out for a ride? You're going to? What exactly are you going to? I mean, what exactly is it going to consist of? A pizza?
I mean,
you busting out some Pliny's. You got some college buddies coming over. Where's that jar? I don't see that jar behind you anymore.
I mean, hookers and heroin would be the wrong way to describe the weekend. It really would be. Here's what I'm doing.
Are you going to pass out in a bush? I mean, what's going to happen here?
No, she'll be clean shaven, Larry. No, I'm sorry. No. Look, here's what we're doing officially.
That was really bad.
It was bad, but hey, I'm going to be alone. Really bad. It's fine. No,
once
here's
again,
what we're doing.
We're brought to you by Sam's Chowder House. I just want to know that.
Okay, so my wife is going away with Corey. Corey's husband is Justin.
Who's Corey? Corey's her new boyfriend. What?
No. Corey is my friend Justin's wife.
Oh, okay. Corey's a woman.
My friend Justin is coming over as our wives go to Tahoe with the kids together. So Justin's coming over tonight. We're going to go hit my buddy's bar, the Halfway Club on Geneva. Then we're probably going to swing over to the Dubliner for a drink or two. Then we're going to grab a little dinner and we're going to watch the World Series and we're going to watch the Warriors game. And then Damon's getting up at 6 a.m. because game day comes from Bloomington at 6 a.m. So I'm going to have game day on my TV. I get to watch
7.
I get to watch college football without two kids bugging me all morning, which I love my boys, but daddy needs to watch this game. So I get a day of college football that I could possibly want. And then I get to watch all the 10 a.m.s on Sunday, and I get to watch all the 1 o'clocks before Sunday night football. And then everyone's coming home on Sunday night while I'm on the air. So I've got the weekend to myself. I don't know what to do with my hands. We'll figure it all out. But I'm looking forward to piecing. Here's what I'm going to do more than anything. More than I'm going to party. More than I'm going to drink. More than I'm going to tomcat. Larry, I'm going to take a nap.
Nice.
I've officially reached the. What do you want to do in your free time? I think I'd just like to fall asleep on the couch to a Seinfeld rerun. That's how old I am.
I'm being hailed to Andrew Filipponi appearance here. I forgot that I have. Let's finish up here though. But D Martinez says guaranteed Fossil runs a reverse or fake on a kickoff. We're not ready for the dumb shit coming our way.
I would absolutely exercise as much caution as humanly possible. Special teams, Fossil's coming for you.
Rakib Jumani, love the show, guys. Wish you both much success. Rakib, we both are having much success. So your wish came true.
Thank you.
Unbelievable. Look at how you made that wish, and then immediately success came our way. Fuji Simeon says, thanks, you two, for the show. It's been a bad week. Otani 50-50. Ball sells for more than 4.3 million. Niners in a tough spot. Dodgers in the World Series and having to hope for the Yankees to win. Yeah, well, I don't understand why the Otani ball is hurting you, but the rest of it I understood. Fuji Simeon says weekend will be tough. Stress for Niners win and a World Series where star players all turn down the Giants. Stanton, Judge, Freeman, Otani, Yamamoto. It's the anti-Larry Bear Bowl, or what would you call that? Yeah, Farhan, no Farhan Bowl. That's tonight.
It's
Blood
the
Moon.
It's the no budget will be adhered to bowl for Farhan. He's going to go get those guys, Larry.
It's the what's the mayor of San Francisco's name again? It's the London Breed is Gone Bowl. Okay. Blood Moon says BP needs full control. About to pay him. Need to know.
Well,
Brock
I think
Purdy needs full
yeah.
control.
Well, I think this is a reaction to the the soundbite that we were talking about earlier, and
Yeah.
how about this? That soundbite played worse to the crowd than I think it actually really meant.
Yeah. Once again, if he said, I have nothing that I can go to and I'm fucked, then it would be like, I get it. But the fact that he said, Kyle's got built-in things that we can go to in the play, and then people
you never want your starting quarterback to end a single press conference sentence with "and I'm fucked."
Fuji Simeon, John Fisher's A's want to sell 25% stake for $500 million. That's wild. For context, Giants are valued at around $3 billion. We can't sign stars though.
John Fisher doesn't have the money to do anything. He says he got no money to build this stadium. It's a disaster.
John Fisher, just leave already. Fuji Simeon.
I'm fucked.
This might be a World Series where the viewership numbers internationally in Japan might be at levels or higher than domestic. Many anime weekend shows are not airing as it's at same time as the game.
Shohei Otani is more popular in Japan than baseball is popular in America. And I think that's what Fuji Simeon's right about. And let's see if a single World Series game, this World Series not only has the pressure on every player to perform in it, but the World Series itself has pressure to perform on it. World Series games in the 70s and 80s, Larry, used to draw 40 million people to the television. Last year's World Series didn't even draw 9. So this, with the Yankees and the Dodgers and the only World Series that can literally give you a whole bunch of household names from baseball teams, if this thing isn't like 12 to 15 million per game average to baseball is, you're going to have network executives jumping out of skyscrapers.
Hunk of metal Manfred is not going to be happy. Yeah. Fuji Simeon says, as a Giants fan, it's terrible. Dodgers are converting the country into the country of Japan into Dodger fans. 120 million new fans. Japan will soon have an unofficial third national color: red, white, and ugly Dodger blue.
I'm telling you, that $1 billion that the Niners should have paid Otani would have paid off in international tourism alone.
Oh my God, yeah, Giants. But they had an identical bid. It's just their identical bid was rejected. Fuji Simeon, sorry about the super chats.
They did the best. Susan Slessor is reporting they did the best they could, Larry.
This is just in. Susan Slusser is reporting the Giants could not be any finer of an organization. Sorry about the super chats. The Sam's bet fell through. So instead, my punishment was to use super chats. Per my SI friend, nothing more gratifying for a Wildcat than a Reardon alum sending you money. LOL. Hey, go
Fuji's
Cats,
speed.
get them Cats, go get them Cats. Hey, you, there's nothing you can do. I said you just can't stop that cat machine. Once again, Dominic says, what happened to running the ball 30 times a game?
I think it's back this weekend, Larry. I think it's back this weekend. I think you're going to see Kyle Shanahan in full I don't have time to screw around mode this weekend. I look, I think the Niners are going to win. I think the Niners are going to cover.
How about this? How about 3 fucking guys on special teams don't fall down on kickoff return? How about that?
Great idea.
Returns.
Great. You know what? I'm ready to make
the right side of the
Niner
coverage unit refuses to fall to the ground on the coverage unit. That will be a good moment for the team. All right, that's going to do it for us. Thanks to Sam's Chowder House. Oh my God, hit Sam's Chowder House. I don't care where you are. I don't care if you're in North Carolina, if you're in Florida, if you're in Connecticut, if you're in Boston. I don't care where you're at. When you come to California for a Niner game or for a Giants game, because Sam's, of course, is a year-round extravaganza, you got to get out to Half Moon Bay. You got to go down to Sam's. You got to have some amazing seafood, fresh right there. I mean, never order seafood in a landlocked area, but when you're on the coast, man, go seafood up and down. And Sam's, it does it right, and the location is second to none. You will not be disappointed.
Just
and on that note,
thank you to everybody for watching. It means an awful lot to us. You know, Larry's done a very, very incredible job. He's at 50,000 subscribers, and little old Damon, he's a little engine that could. Here he comes. He got 25 now. So he's coming up on you, Larry. You better look out. I know that he's coming for you. You both of you are going to be in the Miata, riding down, wind blowing through your hair. Look at all the success.
You know, Ralph, it's so funny you bring up the Miata. All right, because I'm a real football guy, and that's why I'm on 50,000 subs, because I'm a real football guy. I like the Miata, don't get me wrong, and I like that, the high-pitched thing that you got going on, Ralph. But I'll tell you, I'm a football guy, and that's why I'm going to go into the locker room today. We're going to talk to football players, and then we're going to talk to Kyle Shanahan, who's a hell of a coach. He's a hell of a coach. And what kind of a coach is he? He's a football coach. And if I say football one more time, this stream will never end. So I'm a football guy.